You were taught to picture angels as soft, glowing, harmless, a baby with wings, a woman in white light. Forget that. Because when angels actually appear in Scripture, people don't feel comfort. They fall to the ground, they shake, they beg for their lives. Almost every single time an angel shows up in the Bible, the first thing it has to say is, "Do not be afraid." Not because they came to harm anyone, but because, according to these accounts, their appearance was so overwhelming that fear was the only natural response. Imagine seeing something your brain cannot even classify as alive. Faces that don't belong on one body, wheels covered in eyes that never blink. A creature so vast it could stand with 1 foot on earth and 1 foot touching heaven. And one figure that, according to later tradition, nothing has ever managed to outrun. Today we're counting down 5 of the most disturbing angelic depictions ever recorded, starting with the mildest one and ending with one of the most feared figures in later Jewish tradition. Let's begin. 5. Seraphim, the burning ones. According to the book of Isaiah, the prophet has a vision of God's throne room. Standing above it are creatures called seraphim, a Hebrew word that roughly translates to the burning ones. Each one has 6 wings. 2 cover the face, 2 cover the feet, 2 are used to fly. Why cover the face? Because according to the text, looking directly at what they're guarding isn't survivable, even for them. They don't speak in whispers, they shout endlessly, in a sound loud enough that, according to the passage, the doorposts of the entire temple shake and the room fills with smoke. This is the calmest entry on this list. It only gets worse from here. 4. Cherubim, not a baby with wings. If you picture a cherub as a chubby infant with tiny wings, that image has nothing to do with what's described in the book of Ezekiel. The prophet Ezekiel records a vision of living creatures with 4 wings and 4 faces, fused onto a single body. A human face in front, a lion's face on the right, an ox's face on the left, an eagle's face in the back. Their legs are described as straight, but their feet resemble the hooves of a calf, gleaming like polished bronze. And here's the detail that unsettled Ezekiel most. They never turn around. Because they have a face pointed in every direction at once, they don't need to. They move in a straight line, instantly, toward wherever they're facing, with no hesitation and no need to reorient. 4 faces, 4 wings, a body that never has to turn. Ezekiel describes a vision unlike anything recognizable in the natural world, a being that defies every category the human mind is built to sort things into. 3. OPHANIM, the wheels that watch. Still inside the same vision, Ezekiel notices something moving alongside the cherubim, on the ground beside their feet. Wheels, but not ordinary wheels. According to the text, it's a wheel within a wheel, able to move in any of 4 directions without turning, matching the cherubim's own unnatural movement. And then Ezekiel adds the detail that turns this from strange to genuinely disturbing. The rims of the wheels, all 4 of them, were covered completely in eyes. Not glowing, not symbolic. Eyes, watching in every direction all at once, without blinking, without rest. Later Jewish tradition would give these wheels a name, OPHANIM, and would rank them among the highest order of angelic beings, not lesser than the cherubim they move with, but equal to them. A being that never needs to turn its head, riding on a wheel that never needs to close its eyes. 2. The 4 living creatures of Revelation, covered in eyes, inside and out. Centuries later, in the final book of the New Testament, John describes a vision that echoes Ezekiel's, but pushes it even further. 4 living creatures surround the throne. Each one has 6 wings, like the seraphim. Each one has a different face, like the cherubim. But John adds something new. According to Revelation, these creatures are covered in eyes, not just on their bodies, but under their wings, all around, inside and out. And they never stop. Day and night, without pausing, they never cease. No rest, no blinking, no looking away. Just endless, unblinking observation, forever, surrounding the throne. This is the closest thing Scripture gives us to a being designed purely to watch. 1. The angel of death, Malach ha-mavet, the one no one outruns. Everything on this list so far comes from within the pages of Scripture itself. This final entry is different. It is not described in the biblical text at all. It comes from later Jewish legend, specifically the Talmud, and it may be the most feared figure in the entire tradition. According to these accounts, the angel of death is described as a being whose body, like the creatures before it, is covered entirely in eyes. But it carries something none of the others do: a sword, and at its tip, a single drop of poison. Legend says that in the instant before death, the angel of death appears, and the drop falls. Unlike every other figure on this list, no one in these stories manages to look away from this one in time. Every angel that appears throughout Scripture opens with the words, "Do not be afraid." Unlike many biblical angelic encounters, later tradition does not describe the angel of death offering any reassurance at all.
In these accounts, people consistently react with fear when they encounter these beings, not comfort. Veils within veils, faces that never turn, bodies made entirely of watching eyes. Whether these visions were meant to be taken literally, symbolically, or somewhere in between has been debated by theologians for centuries. What remains undeniable is that Scripture's own descriptions are far stranger than the popular image most people grew up with. So the next time someone draws an angel as a baby with tiny wings, you will know better.